9 generations, 9 hardcore Nuzlockes, 1 quest to prove that vanilla hardcore Nuzlockes are still way too easy. On top of the boring standard rules that are on screen right now, I made it so every dev will make the following runs at least a bit less of a cakewalk. Will this ultimate snowball effect eventually get the best of me, or will I easily beat 9 hardcore Nuzlockes in a row? This is the Hardcore Nuzlocke Gauntlet. We're immediately gonna start with some spoilers for the previous run, which you can check in the iCard. I beat the Pokemon Red Hardcore Nuzlocke without any deaths, so the Gauntlet rules don't matter here in Pokemon Gold yet either, so let's just get started without having to eliminate any encounters. For my starter this run, I decided to go with Cyndaquil. I don't know if this is the best option, but I just like the Evolutions, so I don't care. I easily beat my rivals Totodile with it, so that's good, but the earlier game encounters weren't as great as last time. I wanted a Geodude on Route 46, which I could guarantee by getting a Rattata somewhere else. Unfortunately, Route 29's encounter was a boring Sandra instead of a Pidgey or maybe even the Rattata that I need, and my other attempt of getting one on Route 30 by changing to nighttime didn't work either, giving me a Spinnerack instead. I had another chance on Route 31, but because this stupid game doesn't tell you when you get to a new route, I didn't notice that this level 5 Hoothoot was my encounter until I found a Bellsprout which couldn't be found in the previous area. Okay, change of plans. I could get a Geodude in Dark Cave to then basically guarantee a Rattata encounter on Route 46. With that caught, I could also force a Ghastly in the Sprout Tower since there are no Bellsprout there for some reason, and make my way to the top. Here I sadly messed up and Spinnerack got too much experience from the Elder Bellsprout, so after the Hoothoot it got to level 10 with the level cap being at 9, so I couldn't use it anymore until after the next gym. And I'm gonna be honest, I was terrified of this gym. A level 9 Pidgeotto with Mudslap for Geodude, which didn't even have a Rock Throw yet at this level. My Cyndaquil didn't have Ember because this game is absolute trash, and yes, there are berries in this game, but I'm a stupid dumbass and forgot about them because I started this run immediately after finishing Red, where health items didn't exist yet. I even edged my Pokemon for this fight, making it so they level up with just one more experience, which I normally only do for the Elite 4, but I was so scared for this gym that I did it anyways. However, this still wasn't enough. Sandrot was incredibly underwhelming against the Pidgey, so I also had to sacrifice some HP on Geodude against it, but at least it got to level 10 because of that, so that's something. For Pidgeotto, I tried my starter Smokescreen to lower his accuracy, but was already in crit range after just one attack. Rattata Steel Whip to increase later damage, but even while risking the crit, I still did pathetic damage, and here I had to sack something. I chose Sandrot since it's not good in this game or a later game, but this still means one less encounter in every following run. In a normal hardcore Nuzlocke, sacks like these aren't that bad, but in this gauntlet, later Nuzlockes can suffer a lot from them. At least that was the only death here. Ghastly outsped the Pidgeotto and landed a Hypnosis, allowing my Geodude to kill okay, there we go. Pidgeotto went down, and the first badge was mine. Yes, berries would have let me do this deathless, but shut up, okay? Moving on from that nightmare, let's pick up some more encounters. I completely ignored the Togepi egg you get in Violet City because after I got a Mareep on Route 32, I also got the old route there and could go back to get a Magikarp, and Gyarados is always insanely good. Gen 2 is arguably its worst generation because there aren't as many easy access good TMs for it like in Gen 1, and it doesn't have Intimidate yet like from Gen 3 onwards, but it's still a great mon. One lame Sandshrew later, I changed to nighttime again to get a Zubat at Route 33, also letting me guarantee a Slowpoke in a Slowpoke well, but honestly, I don't get why you can find Slowpoke here. That's like putting Bellsprout in Sprout Tower, which would just be absolutely ridiculous. Continuing with the nocturnal encounters, I also got an Audition Ilex Forest to potentially deal with the rivals Croconaw, quickly got through Slowpoke well, resulting in evolutions for my Cyndaquil and Mareep, and then took on the second gym. Since my starter now actually has a fire type move, it was an easy gym fight with Quilava one-shotting the 2 cocoons and only taking 11 damage from Scyther before knocking it out as well. Next up was a rival fight, and like Quilava, Geodude now also had decent moves, so Magnitude easily took care of the Ghastly, bringing in Croconaw next. I tried using Audition, honestly it didn't do too bad, but Absorb just wasn't doing a lot of damage, so to speed it up I finished it with Flaffy's Thunder Shocks instead, which could then also take care of his last Pokemon, Zubat. I tactically skipped another encounter since if I got a Drowsy on Route 35, I could get an Abra here, but that ended up being a Nidoran, so I just got the Drowsy on Route 34, but I could still get Abra later. Before that though, time for another gym. Somehow Clefairy was the biggest problem here. It completely bodied my starter with Double Slap, forcing me to switch it out for Flaffy. The stupid moon thingy also took the Thunder Shock, and even though I could keep in Flaffy to finish it, I brought out Oddish for a healthier Pokemon against the upcoming Miltank. I just put it to sleep, brought in my newly evolved Raticate, and after the infamous Miltank stayed asleep for 6 turns, a measly Quick Attack finished the job for the 3rd badge. Remember how I said I could get an Abra later? Well, I just picked one up at the game corner. After that I spent the rest of my money and more in the Goldenrod department store, that rhymed, on TMs for the elemental punches. With those, I could teach all 3 to my newly evolved Kadabra, Thunder and Fire Punch to Flaffy, and Fire Punch to Wait, hold up. Quilava doesn't learn Fire Punch? Apparently only Typhlosion does. Great. Besides new moves, I also got some new encounters in Weedle, Sudowoodo, and I guess not Growlithe because it roared me away. The rifle fight in the Burn Tower was easily dealt with, Haunter got destroyed by Kadabra, Gloom slowly took down the Croconaw, and my own starter finished the remaining 2 Pokemon. I could now challenge Morty, but let's get some more encounters first. And we're gonna get Magnemite. Hold up. Okay, well, if I can catch this Suicune in my Hardcore Nuzlocke, that would be insane. Suicune, please stay in the ball. Ah well, okay, there goes our encounter for this route. But hey, it was cool. I'm not even mad, that was incredible, but that's one less encounter with the others being kinda trash, so it's Kadabra against the world. If the world was called Morty, which it isn't. Also, I just swapped it out against Gengar because Shadow Ball would absolutely destroy my beloved Spoon Wielder. Luckily, Graveler could easily take the hit, and even though Gengar had Hypnosis, I came prepared by giving Graveler a Mint Berry, which I didn't need because Gengar failed to land Hypnosis twice, so Magnitude took down the non-levitating ghosts for the 4th badge. After beating up some girls in the theater, I got the HM for Surf, but I didn't have a water type. Gyarados time. Together with the Good Rod, I had access to a bunch of water routes, so time for encounter routing. I got Tentacool by surfing near Olivine, leaving only Shelter and Chinchou as fishing encounters in multiple areas. My first catch of the day was Shelter, and although I wanted Chinchou, this meant I could still guarantee it in another area like Newark Town. I can already hear you typing, Viberio sir, I think you have made an illegal move by catching the Chinchou since you already got your starter in Newark Town, meaning that depending on your exact rules that may not have been an actual encounter. Cool video either way and have a nice day. To which I say, wow, what a nicely written comment, and also, yes, you were absolutely correct, I do count gift Pokemon, including the starter, as my encounter of that area, so that's an illegal Chinchou, but I went on to use it quite a bit. To make it fair, I eliminated the encounter east of Newark Town, which is already available with Surf, and would have given the same good run encounters. Don't cancel me for this please, my gauntlet, my rules, and also there are way better things to cancel me for. Anyways, let's get back to conquering the Johto region 1 badge at a time. Kadabra had no issues with taking down Shock at all, Primeape got one shot and Poliwrath pulled a Gengar by missing his Hypnosis, so that was easy. I got a bunch of encounters between Cyanwood and Mahogany, but I really don't care about any of them. Not even some inferior looking Gyarados. Okay, shiny Gyarados looks amazing, I just didn't catch it because of Dupe's Claws. So let's move on to the 6th gym. 7th gym? The Ice Gym. This is why I got my completely legal Chinchou, now Lantern, because it just solos price. Spark easily dealt with Seal and Dugong, and since Piloswine doesn't run any ground moves, I was safe to stay in and finish it with Surf. A couple rare candies later, because of the stupid level curve in this game, it was time to take on Jasmine. Steelix was another example of a ground type that didn't have any moves to handle my Lantern, while I easily drowned it, and despite the Magnemites being part Steel type, they didn't have any Steel type moves for my Graveler, so that's 2 more free KOs. Yeah, movesets in this game are absolute garbage, just like all of the Team Rocket fights. Not even the admins are worth talking about, and yes, there was also a rival fight, but this once again was no issue either. The only fully evolved Pokemon was Feraligatr, which Lantern made quick work of, and the rest of the team was completely outmatched. With all of that done and one quick swine-up encounter later, it's time for the final gym. Well, not yet. First, I went around the entire region to fight any trainers I had missed for some extra money, so eventually I could buy enough coins at the game corner for TM14 Blizzard. I brought back the Slowpoke from Slowpoke Well, evolved it into Slowbro, taught it Blizzard, and now I was actually ready to take on Claire. Kadabra's Ice Punch just one-shot the 3 Dragonair, but then there was Kingdra. Honestly, I just threw all my water types at it with first Lantern so I could paralyze it with Thunder Wave, then Slowbro to chip it down with not Blizzard because my accuracy got dropped, and finally Gyarados to finish it off with a bit of luck to get the final badge. Ignoring the remaining encounters, let's skip immediately to the final rival fight in Victory Road. Because the current level cap is the last Elite 4 member's highest level, I'm way over leveled so I could simply solo my rival with Ampharos. His Pokemon were all either weak to Thunder or Fire Punch, or frail enough to go down to one single neutral stab attack. After assembling the seemingly pretty mediocre team of Eradicate, Graveler, Typhlosion, Slowbro, Kadabra, and Ampharos, and putting on sunglasses that make me look like a blind person just for a stupid bit, it was time to challenge the league. I could just use live commentary like I did last time, but the data shows people didn't like it as much, so I'm sticking to the voiceover this time. Speaking of YouTube data no one likes, 83% of my viewers are unsubscribed, which is terrible because that means my videos are getting recommended to new people. What a disaster! Yeah, all the sarcasm aside, just subscribe if you want to subscribe, and let's get on with the video. The Psychic Specialist wheel was up first, so I came prepared with Shadow Ball Eradicate to easily sweep. Oh, I didn't have a backup plan. Let's just at least finish this Xatu with Eradicate, but staying in any longer would risk a death to crit. I tried to use Typhlosion against the Jinx, but Lovely Kiss really messed me up and I couldn't get off a single hit. More improvising I guess, let's just use Kadabra. Fire Punch just barely didn't KO it, but it did burn the Jinx, so after I took some minimal damage, the burn finished the job. The second Xatu went down to an Ice Punch, but I wasn't confident that Kadabra could take an Egg Bomb in case Executor survived, so we're switching again. 2 Fire Punches from Ampharos finished the Eggplant. No, not Eggplant, Eggplant. Although Thunder Punch may have one-shot the final Pokemon, Slowbro, I just decided to play it safe and slowly take it down with my own superior Slowbro, finishing this very scuffed first Elite 4 fight. Luckily, the next one was a lot cleaner. Koga's Poison and Bug types all went down to a single Psychic or Fire Punch each, proving once again that you don't need trade evolutions to let Kadabra sweep in the Elite 4. They don't call Koga the Jotonian Bruno for nothing. Wait, Bruno is still here. Well, that's another free sweep for Kadabra, this time with Psychic for the fighting types and Ice Punch for the Onix. Last up in the Elite 4 was Karen with honestly a very nasty team. First we got Umbreon with its insane special defense, so I decided to teach Typhlosion Dynamic Punch and just test my luck. Luck was on my side because I didn't just land a 50% accurate move, Umbreon also immediately hit itself in confusion so Fire Punch could finish the job. I wanted to save my starter for later, so I brought an Ampharos against Gengar, which set up a kill for me with its own curse, putting it in Thunder Punch range. Next up was Vileplume, and this is where the fight started going downhill. I probably should have just stayed in and fired off some Fire Punches, but I instead brought out Typhlosion, which got paralyzed by a Stun Spore. I still managed to take down both Vileplume and Murkrow, but not without taking a bit of chip in the process, and then Karen sent out her ace, Houndoom. I thought Graveler could handle it, but I was very much wrong there. A single crunch almost took it down, and the Geodude line is pretty prevalent throughout later games, so I didn't just want to sack it here, but I didn't really see a good strategy here. I was kinda panicking here and brought Typhlosion back in just to get fully paralyzed, then tried to save it by going Ampharos, but it got a special defense drop from Crunch by doing so. This meant I had to sack something, and I decided on Typhlosion because it wasn't really any use to me anymore, not against Lance nor in later games, so I said farewell to my starter, giving me a clean switch into Eradicate, and took down the Houndoom. Yes, I could have also played much better, but I think the main mistake was not bringing something like Lantern or Gyarados that could easily deal with the Houndoom. I probably should have replaced Raticate, since even though Graveler and Slowbro hadn't done much either, it was now their time to shine against the Johto champion, Lance. I did however lead with Kadabra because it's still just such an amazing Pokemon, taking care of his Gyarados with Thunder Punch and the first 2 Dragonites with 1 Ice Punch each. Aerodactyl was a bit scary though, so I brought out Graveler to tank some hits and 2-shot their prehistoric bird with Rock Throw, then took a bit of a risk against Charizard by staying in, but Flamethrower didn't crit, so another Rock Throw got to Oko. Last up was his 3rd and final Dragonite, so I brought in Slowbro, realized that Outrage could KO me with a crit, so instead of staying in, I swapped in Kadabra, which also would have died to a crit. But still, I finished the fight with 1 final Ice Punch, making us the new Johto champions. No, I am not doing Kanto, so that is 2 out of the 9 Hardcore Nuzlockes done. This one was definitely a bit more scuffed than the first one, resulting in 2 deaths, so that means that I will have 2 less encounters in the next game, Emerald. The original plan had Sapphire, but I'll explain in that video why I went with Emerald instead. Hopefully this won't start spiraling out of control this early on already. Stay tuned for the next video to find out. This is also the time where I beg you to subscribe, like, comment and all the jazz, but anyways, the full Gauntlet playlist will be on screen right now, so that's all I got for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, I will see you next time, and of course, stay alive.